Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Ray Tampa podcast. Our podcast offers bold commentary on various subject matters with a laser-like focus on the truth. My name is Ray Tampa, and I'm the host of the Ray Tampa podcast. We have in our studio two talented and intelligent gentlemen, Mr. Russell Cato and Mr. Jamie Wilson III, my co-hosts. Also, we have in our studio Minister Cory Givens, a young community activist who is well involved in the social, political, and faith-based issues of our community. Minister Givens is here to participate in helping to decipher the meaning of many of the common statements heard throughout our community and beyond. Audience members, get ready for some real talk, honest talk. To begin, I'm going to read an article I wrote, and my co-host, guest, and I will discuss it afterwards. The title is Just a Damn Phrase, ... It's just a damn phrase, ... Questions, and more questions represent the order of the day. Unfortunately, answers are few and far apart. Please take note. What does it mean when a person says, quote, "In America, we believe in the rule of law," end of quote? What does it mean when a person says, quote, "In America, Lady Justice is blind," end of quote? What does it mean when a person says, "In America, defendants will be tried by a jury of their peers," end of quote? What does it mean when a person says, "In America, we have a government of the people, by the people, and for the people," end of quote? What does it mean when a person says, "In America, we have free and fair elections," end of quote? What does it mean when a person says, "In America, no man is above the law"? What does it mean when a person says, quote, "The United States Supreme Court justices are beyond reproach," end of quote? What does it mean when a person says, "I believe in inclusivity. I want everyone on the same playing field," end of quote? And what does it mean when a person says, quote, "We need to make America great again," end of quote? All of the questions posed above offer an opportunity for some serious debate relative to authenticity, practicality, and pure nonsense. For example, let's take a look at two or three of the statements and analyze the reality of the statements. With the first one being, "In America, we believe in the rule of law." This statement, for the most part, is situational. It depends on who is applying the law and who is the subject of its prosecution. On the flip side, it depends on who's not applying the law and who is not being subjected to its prosecution. And there's a lot more to be said about it. The next one, "In America, Lady Justice is blind." it is really hard to believe there is anyone who can say with a straight face they believe this statement to be true. There are too many instances over the course of too many years. Simply take a look at the composition of this country's prisons, and your answer is there in black and white. In America, we believe in free and fair elections. Well, widespread voter suppression, gerrymandering, too few polling places, voter intimidation, voter fraud, etc., dispel any thoughts of truth to this statement. In America, we have a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. Let's take a look at the state of Florida, for instance. The question or the questions have to be the government of what people, by what people, and for what people. Florida's government seems to be for the people who support a racist, Islamophobic, tyrant wannabe governor. And there's a lot more to be said here as well. Judging each statement or phrase on its merits suggests that all of them fit squarely in one or more of the following boxes: rhetoric, cliche, propaganda, theory, idealism, and fantasy. However, it's inconceivable to believe that any of these statements or phrases fit in the box labeled facts and truth. Inconceivable. One might even say they should all be thrown in the bullshit bin. I'm just saying. End of article. Okay, at this point, I'm going to invite my guest and my co-host. So let's have a very serious, honest discussion about these phrases. Who would like to begin?
Oh, okay, I'm gonna start with "Make America Great Again."
All right, make America great again.
Make America, basically, I see that as since Trump came into the whole movement, I see it as let's return to slavery. I see it that's when, to a lot of them, that's when America was great again. That's when America was great. That's when they had their way. Everything was all about them. We were a nobody. This whole thing of woke is a problem for them. It's disrupting their movement. Now they're using a little misdirection with the media for what's going on with Israel and Palestine and get the focus off the whole woke thing. The woke needs to keep going, but that's what I think when I hear that statement. That's what I've always thought.
Jay, that's a pretty good response, because my question in terms of that particular phrase or statement is, what time period are they talking about? You specified a time period in terms of slavery is when they felt America was great. But I'm always thinking, what time period are they talking about? Make America great again. What references are they suggesting here? Anybody else want to chime in on that one? Make America great again.
Well, basically, you know, when I look at phrases, to me, I think phrases is to help people build an understanding of trust and respect. I don't care what phrase it is. And I think what it is, and I go back to what you said, Ray, and you kept hitting this point, what does it mean? And my concern is, I take it further than that. It's who's in control to emphasize these phrases. Whoever's in control, they play the phrases to them.
Mhm.
That's what I'm saying. So I'm saying to you, lady, justice is blind, make America great again, whatever phrase is being used, it is who's in control is going to emphasize these phrases to their advantage. That's
All
all.
right, to
Yeah.
their
To
advantage.
their advantage.
That's what it's all about.
Right.
Mhm.
To their
To
advantage.
their advantage.
Okay, Corey, you want to say anything here?
Well, you know, when I think about what make America great again means, I have to think about when was America ever great in my lifetime, right? So
Right.
my entire life, you know, I'm 31 years old. I've always seen America at conflict. I've always seen America at war. I've always seen America on the brink of some sort of inflation, recession, or economic decline. I've always seen us in a battle politically, the red against the blue, right against the left, Democrat against Republican, right? I've always seen racial divides. So it's hard to envision a great America, right? If you've never seen that America.
Mhm.
Okay, great points.
Right.
Great points. All of you made some
But for
excellent
them,
points.
the greatness was when we were nobody. They didn't have to deal with us. And that's Trump's code word and meaning to all his constituents.
Well, even at that point right there, Jay, it goes much further back, because when we were a nobody,
Mhm.
that's when we weren't a part of the Constitution. Remember?
Yeah, it was never meant for us.
Yeah, and when we were finally put in the Constitution, or suggested that we were somebody,
Mhm.
we were only 3/5 of somebody.
Right.
So,
So we were-
what are we talking about? What are we talking about?
And let's
Corey?
keep it real. Jay called it, you know, a call,
Right.
or whatever. Let's just be honest. Let's call a thing, right?
Mhm.
It's a
Mhm.
dog whistle.
Mhm.
It's a
Dog whistle.
call to his crew, to
Mhm.
his base,
Exactly.
his fueling, his
Thank you.
fire. And
Mhm.
when he says "Make America great again,"
They know.
it's to him. He's waking them up, because we, Black America,
Mhm.
is a threat to the America that they knew, that they loved, and that they cherished.
Yeah.
And they, like you say, want to set us back
Right.
to 16.
They want that time.
Yeah.
That was their time. So we had no power. We were a dog tied to a tree. We were nothing. That was great times for them. Now we're seen as agitators. Oh, they equal rights, and now they're complaining about this. We're arresting so many of them. They're complaining about that. We are a problem for them. They want to stay here. They want us here. We're a problem. America was great when they didn't have that problem.
I think
Okay, Russ.
if you go back and look at Trump, and I got to admire him because what he does, he continued to do what he feels like Trump can do. And I say that, to say this. People are trying to find out, why is his popularity so great? You know why? Because he has told the white privilege that if you vote for me, I can still control these Black and brown people. That's his whole thing. That's his whole get up. And then, they're trying to find out, why is he's so strong? He ain't that strong he only strong with his base rate.
Yeah, in his base.
That's all he's strong with.
Very
But
strong in
he's
his base.
convincing that base, I am going to keep these certain people in place. Make America great again.
Mhm.
Make America. Now, what we have to do, and I'm glad he's here, ministers have to come up. We got to vote. We got to vote. I don't care what laws they put in to stop us from voting. It was proven in the state of Georgia that voting is very important. I heard a Black person yesterday says, I love Trump. I love his family. I'm trying to find out, where are you coming from?
Was he abducted?
This was a lady, Jamie.
Mm.
And I'm trying to find out, what have you seen for you to say something like that? But I do know this, Ray. We got to vote. If we vote, we can stop it.
Well, when we vote, we win.
That's right.
When we vote, we win. If you just look at what happened in the last series of elections in Virginia and
Yeah.
Kentucky, Ohio,
Yeah.
we won. And when I say we, I'm basically talking of the people that have common sense.
There you go.
Common sense people. We won in all of those elections.
Mhm,
We elected people that we didn't think could be elected
mhm.
because of common sense.
Right, right.
Yeah.
All right, let's move to another one, and we can come back to this one later on, but
Mm.
let's move to another one. And I'm going to throw one out, and you all can chime in on it. In America, Lady Justice is blind. Lady Justice. Lady Justice is just a symbol. It's a symbol. It's a statue with a lady holding a scale, supposedly the scale of justice. And she's blindfolded. And what does this symbol suggest? It suggests that justice in America does not see individuals.
Yeah, we gotta change.
What you say, Russ? You gotta be kidding me. You're right. You gotta be kidding me. Lady Justice is symbolic of our justice system not seeing color, socioeconomic statue. I mean, what's the word? Socioeconomic status.
Mhm.
Status. Lady Justice does not see female versus male, black or white, old versus young.
Mm.
Lady Justice is there to make sure that everybody is treated right.
Mhm,
Now, look at our prison systems
mhm,
full of us,
mhm.
full of brown people, full. How can that be suggested? How can that be suggested? I was talking a little while ago about the Innocence Project and the number of people who have been released from prison or jail, and some from the death penalty as a result of the work of the Innocence Project is a pretty staggering number. But in a closer look at that number, the overwhelming majority of these people who were wrongly convicted look like us, look just like us.
Mhm.
And there's so many other instances that will suggest that Lady Justice needs to take off that fake blindfold, because I'm sure there's some little holes that she can peek through. Or there may be occasions where she may lift it up just to see who's out there in that courtroom. But Lady Justice, the symbolism is just a farce.
Mhm.
That's my opinion. Anybody want to offer another
Fact, she
opinion?
has bifocals on. That's a fact.
She has
She-
bifocals
There is
on.
no, it's supposed to be impartial, unbiased, none of that. I mean, you're talking about prisons. The whole structure of the prison system. Think about it. I mean, yeah, black people and brown people are the minority. The minority are the white guards. So if you got that, because if we're the majority, and if it was properly, as far as race, I'm talking the next level, meaning the guards, we would run it. It wouldn't be as much abuse, much of a lot of things in it. So it's the whole structure, just like the U.S. structure. The whole structure is jacked up.
You know, the symbolism or the symbol of Lady Justice is based on a Greek goddess, and that Greek goddess is supposed to suggest clear-sightedness,
Mhm.
clear-sightedness. And that symbol is also based on a Roman goddess that is supposed to suggest honor and virtue of justice.
Mhm.
Bullshit.
Right.
Bullshit.
Right.
And I'm going to leave cursing out of this. Boy, I won't do it again. I won't do it again, but it's not right.
If I may,
Yeah.
you mentioned the Greek goddess. I think it was Themis or something was her name.
Themis.
Um,
Themis.
Yeah, but you talked about the blindfold that Lady Justice wears, right? So I think about white supremacy, and I think about how white supremacy has lifted that blindfold in America, right? It's revealed a lot of the injustices, a lot of the inequities, right? A lot of the inequalities that we are dealt with and facing every day in America and Black America.
Right. Hence woke.
So hence woke, right? And so as soon as you wake them up, and you make them realize, hey, we have the same power they have with our vote, right? Then they get a little intimidated, and then they got to send for their martyr, the great Donald Trump, to step in and say, hey, they are threatening our way of life. So we got to organize and we got to stop them. And so, like you say, Mr. Cato, you got to give a man credit. He knows how to corral his base. He knows how to organize that support and solidify the support. Look at the Republican, the GOP nomination right now. Trump already has 60% of the vote. It's over.
Yeah.
It's over. Before it even started, it was over.
Yeah.
Again, great points. Again, great points. Before we move to another one, any other comments here?
I remember some time ago, we had in this show, we talk about hypocrisy. You remember that? All of this is, that's what this shit is. Excuse
Hypocrisy. and actually,
he keeps it real, right?
no, he is right, because I was about to pull up another one of the topics, and in that topic, that's how I end my discussion. Democracy is hypocrisy.
That's what it is.
By Malcolm X. That's his statement. But we'll move on to another one, because we have quite a few and we don't have the time to get to them all, but we'll try and get to as many as we can. All right, Lady Justice is not blind. That's what we've decided. That's nonsense. Let's look at government of the people, by the people, and for the people. What is being suggested here? Government of the people, by the people, for the people.
To me, the mere definition of that is democracy, is what it should be.
That's exactly
what it should be.
Yes.
But it's not.
And you're right.
And I'll leave it at that. I got a whole lot and I don't want to ride off, so you guys go ahead.
What you say, Russ?
Well, when you look at it, all the people, what people are you talking about?
Well, that's what I asked. What people? Government of people, what people?
what
By
people?
people,
Yeah.
what people? For people, what people?
What people?
The haves. The haves.
I want to make a statement myself. Cory, before I go to mine, you want to say something about that?
I'm just thinking about, democracy. We beat up on our federal politicians, we beat up on our state politicians, but we got to look at local elections too, y'all, right?
Exactly. That's what we're talking about.
Democracy must be reflected in our local elections. In
Exactly.
2021, I don't know if y'all remember this or not, but I led this fight to fix our broken election system here in St. Petersburg, because I thought that our redistricting system was gerrymandered. I thought that it was jacked up. I thought the whole way that we clustered and plucked certain districts, city council districts now in St. Pete, the way you got to cross Lake Magori to get from one side of 5th District to the other side, it was wrong. And it was all about securing power and keeping us in our place, because we wanted to make sure, yes, we won't guarantee them their minority majority districts that were guaranteed in the city charter, but what was the majority, y'all? 50.1% Black in a district. How fair is that, right?
Well, Cory, I invited you for a reason. I knew you. I knew you.
Say my welcome.
I know
No, good.
you're doing great, and I knew you would have a lot to say about these different phrases. But I want to say about the government of the people, by the people, for the people. That statement is actually part of Lincoln's Gettysburg Address. 1963, November 1963. He was actually in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, commemorating the development of a new cemetery. And, in the Civil War, so many thousands of soldiers had been killed, so they needed more cemetery space. So he was invited to come and help commemorate the opening of this new cemetery in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. Now, he was not the keynote speaker at that particular event. There was another gentleman, a former state legislator or even a congressman, I can't remember. who was the keynote speaker. And that individual, who is well known for his speaking abilities, he spoke for about 2 hours. Lincoln spoke for a little more than 2 minutes and had the most powerful speech probably in the history of our country, 2 minutes, because he talked about a lot, 5 very important points in a 2.5 minute speech. And a government of the people, by the people was at the tail end of his presentation. But what he was suggesting here is that all of these soldiers, their deaths should not be in vain. We have to win this war. We have to keep this union together. If we allow this union to fall apart, these deaths would be in vain. We need to make sure that we keep this government, this democracy together. So 80 and so many years ago, and I'm trying to remember 2 or 3 other important statements he made in that speech, but I want to emphasize, whoa, boy, time gets away from us. I was just notified that we only have a minute left. Oh, 4 minutes. Okay, 4 minutes. Having said that, thank God. All right, I'll leave a government of the people, by the people alone. You all have offered great commentary. So let's move to one more. No man is above the law. What can we say about that phrase, that statement? Anybody? No man is above the law.
One word, Trump.
Trump? Well, are you saying he's above the law?
No, he feels he's above the law. His party feels that he's above the law.
His party feels that way.
And if it was anybody else, they'd be in jail. So part of it might be true.
And I agree with what you just said, because it's not just Trump, it's the MAGAs. The MAGAs. Look at all those MAGAs in Congress that gave aid to the insurrectionists. What's that stupid man, Josh Hawley, raising his fist in support of the insurrectionists? And then you see him hauling butt. I want to say something here. Hauling butt as the insurrectionists got closer to him in the halls of Congress. Jim Jordan defied a subpoena. He defied it. Then he's in a position to offer subpoenas to other people. Man, give me a break. Anybody else?
I want to say this, I'm going to say it quickly. I think people got to realize what Trump is trying to do with this government.
Russ.
Okay, if you develop a aristocratic government and you're giving this to Trump, and that's what they're doing. That's what Magna trying to do. They're trying to develop a dictatorship form of government. By the people, for the people. It's for them. That's what they're trying to do. And Ray, people better realize what this country is up against. You said a few minutes ago, the union cannot fail, but that's where we are now.
Well, we're in trouble.
We're in trouble.
We're in trouble. We cannot allow that man to get the presidency again. And in my mind, he shouldn't even be eligible to run.
No.
The Constitution says it. If he didn't actually work as an insurrectionist, he didn't break the windows, he didn't go into the halls of Congress doing damage, but he gave aid and comfort to the insurrectionists. And the Constitution clearly says that if you do that, you're not eligible to hold that office or any federal office again.
14th Amendment.
Cory?
I just want to say lastly, at the root of the law is ethics, right? Doing what's right, doing
Yeah.
the right
Yes.
thing.
Mhm.
And whether you're an educated person or an uneducated person, we should all have common sense, right?
Yeah.
And we should know right from wrong.
Yeah.
And I think that he should know right from wrong, being a former commander in chief. And so I want to make sure that we do all we can in this election to mobilize our electorate, right? To
Right.
get folks to
That's
the
right.
polls, because all of this conversation means nothing. It's all going to be in vain if we don't push
No.
people
That's
out
right.
to vote.
Good point. Good point. What I'm going to do is say at this time,
Good point.
I really appreciate my co-hosts. As always, you offer very good statements of support to whatever you bring to the table. I want to thank our guest, Cory Gibbons, for offering such strong points as well. And we appreciate your being here. And I want to thank our listeners for tuning in to the Ray Tampa podcast each and every Tuesday, 5:30 p.m., 99.1 FM, The Bird. You can also go to YouTube, type in the Ray Tampa podcast, and you can view them all. Finally, I would like to say sponsorships are welcome. And with that being said, good evening.